Okay, so you've decided you want to travel just like me, and now we have all these things flying through our head of what we need to do before we even pack our bags. So that's what we're going to discuss. Some of the things that has to be put in place before you can even entertain the idea of traveling and backpacking, and enjoying this like dream life. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Tyrese. I'm 25 years old and I've just quit my job of 6 years as a lift engineer. Now, I've done this because I think this is a great time to go and explore and enjoy my youth. This is why, as of recent, I've been talking about traveling and soon I'll be doing travel vlogs. But as I'm doing these things, I thought it would be worthwhile recording my process of all the bits I'm doing to gear up to prepare for my travels, as I'm sure it will be useful to somebody in the near future. So this is basically in real time. I'm literally doing these things as I'm recording them. So please come along for the journey. This is where we have to start being realistic. As much as we want to live our lives and, escape the reality of that we're living in right now, maybe of work and responsibilities, we have to realize that if we're not making the right financial move, it's only going to come and bite us back in the ass. That's because sure, you might enjoy the next, say, 6 months of traveling, but when you come back, all those stresses and the things you were running away from will quickly come back. They're not going anywhere. So my point is if you look at your finances and you cannot afford it, don't do this just to flex or just to entertain the idea of, being free when you're not really free because you're trapped. Like, you have to get these things in line first. This is just like a mandatory step that has to be done. Please don't think this is fairy tale. This is actually quite a serious thing where people do things when they're just not ready. In my case, as I've said, I've been working my job for 6 years. In these 6 years, of course, I've been saving, mainly 3 years once I was qualified after being apprentice. So, I've been saving up. It helps that I'm living at home, so my expenses are nothing crazy. Essentially, it's just about having a budget in mind, obviously doing some research on where you want to go, what you want to do, how much this is all going to cost, especially the hidden things that we don't really think about too much, which is what we're going to be discussing in this video more. But essentially, you just want to be sufficiently prepared for these trips to make it the best memory that you can, where you're not, really tight on money, or you're really, you have to miss out on so many opportunities, or you're just having a bad time because all you can think about is money. This is why you have to, set a budget in place and stick to it. It's kind of simple as that. So next is actually finding the time to travel. Now, whether that's you requesting leave, with holidays, whether that's you trying to juggle around your responsibilities with school, or going the full dive, going straight in and quitting just like me. But let me just preface by saying that first, I did request a sabbatical, which is a career break, where you're still, an employee under their books, but you're just not getting paid. So when you return, you can return to your normal working duties. So please don't just think I just quit without really thinking about my future and my career. I did, opt for that opportunity. Unfortunately, I was denied, even though one of my colleagues got granted, this career break. But, that's neither here or there. But, for me personally, I just felt like this is something I needed to do. As I said, I've saved up. I'm only going to be 25 once. And that responsibility of having kids, a house, wife, that full shebang is rapidly coming. It's very, very quickly coming. So there's no better time than today for me personally. Obviously, this really comes down to your own judgment. There's really two ways to look at it. Your job can obviously be something that's secure. It pays the bills, puts food on the table. And, it's a good solid place in a career for you. So if you keep working hard, you have the opportunity to climb up the ladder and keep going at it. Or some people see it like a honey trap. It's sweet, it's comfortable, and you're living paycheck to paycheck. Now, I'm not here to convince anybody of what their circumstances are. You have to make your own judgment of that. But I can assume if you're watching this video, you want to travel. So let's continue. Okay, so next we have direct debits and bills, subscriptions, that kind of thing. Of course, we've talked about having a budget. this is like a money pot, right? So now anything that comes out of this is just your money pot being depleted. Because you don't have an income, every little bit of money that comes out will be withering away your money. So we have to be intentional of what is coming out. So if you have any direct debits that you don't need to pay anymore, obviously, not things that you have to pay. So if you have any direct debits for things like, a gym membership that you don't need to go to, any sports or hobbies that you won't be attending to anymore, obviously cancel those. But for me personally, because I'm still at home, for the most part, I don't have any major bills. The biggest one for me being my car bill, which I pay monthly for. So right now I'm kind of umming and ahhing what I want to do with that, just because I need to find a offer that obviously matches how much I owe left in the car. But if I have to pay to sell my car, then it doesn't really make sense. I might as well just keep the car. So I'm kind of, deciding what I'm going to do with this. But hopefully, it gets resolved very soon, because I have been given some offers for the car. So I'm just, deciding. But additionally, you have to think about your circumstances when you come back from this dream of traveling. So for my cases with the car, cool, if I keep the car, like I love my car, right? So I'll be happy that I have the car, but it might become a hindrance if I can't line up a job when I come back within, the next couple months. It may become more of a hindrance than anything. So you really do need to think about, okay, cool, this is something you want to do for the next, X amount of months, but your life does continue when you come back. This is where I wanted to say that only because you're on holiday, the whole world doesn't stop for you. If that wasn't obvious, like bills still have to be paid. So please keep that in mind, that your life back in your hometown will resume when you come back. But going off the car thing, of course, if you're selling your car, make sure you cancel any like MOTs, insurance plans, service plans, that you have with the car, just to, save a bit of money. But it's something you would need to do anyway. Well, next is a quick one. It's about SIM cards. Now, I don't really know if it is a great idea to cancel your SIM card, just in case, like worst case scenario, you have a backup to contact, home. I don't really know. I just know that when you go to the new country, obviously it's normally cheaper just to get a local SIM in that country, which of course I'll be doing. But I'm just saying, as a backup, I'm not sure, maybe just having your home SIM, but obviously then you have to pay for that monthly if you're not using the service. So I think that's kind of to your own discretion. It's just something to think about. But of course, if you're going for, like, I was looking at like a general Latin America SIM, but I found that it's much cheaper just to get a new SIM for every country. Oh yes, and don't forget the little opener needle thing. Let me just get it. Opener needle thingamajiggy, to get into your SIM tray. That's quite important. You never know when you might need that, so just pack it. And obviously, if you have any subscriptions that you're going to use, like Netflix or Spotify, Apple Music, then of course, keep those, because everybody has downtime. When you're traveling, you're gonna have a lot of downtime or alone time. So sometimes just doing things that you would normally do at home anyway just makes you feel a bit more earthed, just a bit more grounded. So, and a personal one for me or us blind people is contact lenses. Right now I'm on daily contact lenses, which is basically going to take up so much space in my bag. So I've been looking into getting monthly contact lenses where you take the contact out of your eye and put it back into solution, and then you can use it again. Of course I'll still take some dailies with me, but it's just when you're living your life in a backpack, I don't think like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 boxes of contact lenses is really worth out the space. Of course, people say just bring your glasses, but I just really hate wearing my glasses, to be honest with you. It doesn't matter what the frame is, it just hurts my ears, and I just feel more free without them, if I'm going to be honest. I just feel a bit more confident without them. So yeah, that's a personal preference. Okay, so we've been talking about saving money, but if we want to spend money, actually enjoy our experience out in the real world, we're going to have to spend money. So this is where you need to think about what cards you want to bring with you, and of course do a little bit of research on that. For me, from the research I've done, living in the UK, Sterling Bank looks like the best card because it has no fees for withdrawing worldwide. and it doesn't have any limitations. So, you know, obviously that's kind of a no-brainer, right? In comparison to other ones where there's limitations and there's a fee for withdrawing. I've also seen that another great card is Chase card, which I think they have some limitations. And if you're outside of the UK, I think I've seen Revolut, Wise, and American Express being mentioned. But obviously, please do your own due diligence. So now, obviously, you know, in the worst case that something bad happens, you get robbed, you lose your cards, you want to have more than one. Like, I don't even have a credit card, but from the research I've done, it says having a credit card is very good. It's helpful in fraud protection. And, you know, it's the bank's money, so it's not your personal money, because if they steal your personal money, poof, it's gone, right? Whereas if it's the bank's money, you have a bit more of a leeway to get the money back and kind of fight it. So right now, I'm looking to get a credit card. I'm ready with Halifax. I'm thinking of getting the Halifax Clarity card for a credit card, and then I'm going to get the Sterling Bank for a debit card, and then also bring my normal card as well. I have a Monzo card, but I don't think the rates and withdrawals and stuff is that good as it used to be, so I'll just stick with a couple. Obviously, please keep in mind, you don't want to have all these cards in the same place, because if you get robbed or you lose it, then you lose all 3 or 4 in one, right? It's just like, there's no point to that. So maybe keep one in your bag, one out while you're staying, one in your pocket, that kind of thing. But yeah, just kind of be smart with it. Try not to get in the habit of just keeping everything in one place. So as a general rule, what you want to do is use your debit card for taking out cash, withdrawing cash, and then you want to use your credit card for like actual transactions that you don't need physical cash for. So cash is king in a lot of countries. In Latin America, I'm pretty sure cash is king there as well. So just having those options is really good, and it just doesn't leave you in a rut. Just imagine that, like, you just have no money, like you're just stuck. Who's gonna help you, right? It's kind of a sticky one, so make sure you do that. Something I also need to do is get my cards on my phone. That might be helpful. I've never really had it. I didn't really like the idea of it. Just like, I feel like it would make me spend more, but at the same time, I still just take my card out if I want to buy something. So probably is the same difference. So if you're using your debit card, ideally you just want to have what you need for that day, because, you know, if you get robbed and they empty everything, it's not great, is it? So at least if you have an additional deterrent where most of your money's in your savings, it kind of gives an extra step. Cool if you're held at gunpoint. I don't know if that helps much, but, you know, every little helps. And additionally, with a credit card, you would want to have a low limit, so, you know, somebody can't just go on a shopping spree with the credit card and then you're left with a lot of debt. Also, another tip is when you're paying, always choose the local exchange rate, you know, so you can save yourself as much money as you can, because it's governed by the bank. An additional one in concerns to safety would be bringing a burner phone, a phone that you don't mind getting lost or stolen, so you can kind of hand it over and it doesn't have, you know, your banking, doesn't have any personal credentials on it, just in case somebody robs you. Now this one, I'm thinking about, hopefully nothing happens, you know what I mean, fingers crossed, but I think it's a good tip to think about for sure. Okay, and then we have travel insurance. Now, love it or hate it, it's just something you have to get. I personally really hate it. It just feels like a waste of money. I've never really had to claim anything. I think I had one time where I claimed dropping my phone. But it's just one of those things, right? Like, you don't want to be, say you're traveling alone, you don't want to be alone, ill, and being pressed about bills in a foreign country where you might not even speak the language and you're just stuck, right? You're just down in the dumps. So ideally, you know, it's there just in case. And worst case scenario, you know, everybody does believe it will never happen to them. They always feel like they're a little bit different. So, you know, just for peace of mind's sake, of course, buy some travel insurance. I've just bought travel insurance with Tesco Backpacker Premier Insurance, which is like worldwide. I did it for 6 months. It was a little bit pricey, but, you know, we move. It's just something you have to do. The thing is when it comes to putting in a claim, there are a lot of bad reviews for a lot of the companies. because none of these companies want to give up their money. It is a business at the end of the day, and all they want to do is save. So make sure you check what you need, what they're giving you, what they cover you for, what they don't cover you for, and just it covers the basics. Obviously things like healthcare and cancellations is probably one of the main things that you want to look into. Additionally, make sure you have a folder or a actual physical paper note of all the contact details that you need, whether that's banks, whether that's your insurance, whether that's contact details for family. Make sure you have this stuff written down in the worst case that you do get robbed, you do lose your things, that you have a backup. Again, having everything on your phone and your phone gets stolen is not great, so having an actual physical note would be ideal. So additional bits that you would want to think about are vaccinations. Make sure that you're up to date. That reminds me, I need to get a booster for my hepatitis. Additionally would be visas. Make sure you can actually stay in the country that you want to go to for as long as you want to. Obviously, it would be good to get clued up on the local currency, try and understand how much something would cost for a normal person, for a native person. So say you wanted to buy a chocolate, just see how much it would normally cost and you're not getting scammed. Of course, do some research for your itinerary, what you want to do, how much it's gonna cost, what hotels you want to visit, what are the best places. Just try and stay on track. To be honest with you, that's something I still kind of need to do, is kind of have more of a solid plan of exactly what I want to do. The first couple of months are pretty much planned, but after that, I don't want to leave it too last minute. But also the problem is, not really a problem, is that you make a really strict plan and things don't normally go as strictly as you would like. Well, just because you're having fun, you kind of go day by day. Therefore, you might want to stay somewhere longer than you anticipated because you're just having a good time. And likewise, you might want to leave somewhere earlier because you're having a shit time. So, plans are good for having a general guide, but I don't think they're you have to abide by them very strictly. It's just, unless you have planes and stuff already booked. Oh, that's another thing is about planes. For me, I've just done a one-way ticket because I don't know exactly when I want to come back, the exact day. Of course I am coming back, but it's just having a strict plan of every single plane. I think it just makes things too robotic. I'd rather just live in the moment a little bit for these next 6 months. Again, of course, having a general plan, not just getting there and you're like, oh, what do I do? And you just sit indoors watching Netflix, But, you get my drift. Oh, and of course, a very important one would be learning the language, or at least learning some, typical phrases that are going to help you get by. It's just respectful, just to learn some basic phrases, some greetings, just to help you get by, and it helps you, it helps them. So, that's a great thing to do. So we've looked at the things we need to do before we pack our bag. But as I said, I'm doing these videos in real time. So in the next 1 to 2 weeks, I'll be packing my bag. So, I'll be doing a video on that, what I'm bringing, why I'm bringing it, what I think is essential. And yeah, I really hope you guys can come with me on this journey of, going from a novice. Pretty much, I've only been on one solo trip before to Spain. I did half of Thailand solo. That was intentional. That just happened to be that way. So this will be the longest. I don't think I've been on a solo adventure longer than 2 weeks. So this really is, a big jump for me. So if you would like to see, this kind of transition in my life of traveling, I'm going to be doing a lot of vlogs and showing. Hopefully I'm going to be doing street interviews and working, volunteering and that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in seeing how I've gone from, a normal guy trying to learn Spanish in his home country to actually speaking it in the real world with real people, real opportunities, real environments. I really hope this video was of some value to you, and thank you for your time. And anyway, in a bit.